Hi, I'm your host, Dr. Phil Hoffman. Welcome to Pause. Today we'll be talking about the North Village Arts District in downtown Columbia. That's coming up this episode of Pause. And welcome back again to Pause. And we're happy today to have Kenny Green joining us. He's the board president of the North Village Arts District in downtown Columbia. Welcome, Kenny.
Thanks.
For folks that are watching the program right now who maybe aren't familiar with what the North Village Arts District is, can you talk a little bit about the history of it and how it kind of came into existence?
Yes, it was an opportunity. John Ott helped develop a lot of the buildings in our area. And so he established some functioning areas for artists to begin their workshops, businesses, and it was a result of some of the old buildings needing repair, and he saw an opportunity to make these places useful for a lot of the people in the area. So, and I think this was about 8 years ago we began.
So North Village Arts District as a thing, of course, is about 8 years old, give or take. But the actual board and that sort of organization you mentioned earlier took a little longer to come about.
Well, as we started to build, I was one of the first businesses in the area, in the Artlandish building. Lisa Bartlett, the owner of Artlandish, was second, and then the other businesses began to fall in place as we made it a little more suitable for other people to reside and work there. So.
And it's always a hard thing to do when you're trying to, first of all, just starting any business is a hard thing to do, but when you're in an area that is sort of undergoing redevelopment, that makes it really difficult, right?
It was quite something. My particular location had 3 wooden steps, a huge wooden door, and it was really difficult for customers to arrive. And all this is while they were rehabbing the building, cutting concrete walls into the building, putting in windows and doing the roof. So yeah, it was quite an experience as you're trying to do business. So.
And when we start the North Village Arts District, obviously you were one of the first businesses in this area. If you can kind of describe sort of the beginning, what was the boundary, what was the layout of the North Village Arts District?
Well, we were really trading on some of the old areas that in the 70s had existed. Things along 9th Street were the main attractions for the original North Village, and then the North Village Sub Shop on Walnut was one of the other major businesses. And so we were actually able to extend our borders to the east, to College, to the south, the alley just north of Broadway, to the west of 8th Street, and to the north of Rogers, to include Columbia College as well.
So it's got a fairly large footprint at this point, much larger than when you started, right?
Much larger. It was only about a block and a half when it originally began. So.
And over the years, as it has grown, the size of it has grown. Obviously, you've added some more vendors in this area. What kind of things are available now in the North Village?
Well, one of the linchpins, or really one of the hubs, was the Orstry Studios that Mark Timberlake took the former Watkins Roofing assembly and refurbished the buildings and made these wonderful working artist studios. And so Chris Teeter designed the doors. So that was the beginning. And then John Ott bought everything from Ernie's West, and so that added the Berry Building, the former Ringo studio area, and then there were several other buildings in the area on St. James and Park Street that have been around, and so those got included also, and those were some of the nascent businesses that were there.
So we have arts, we have dance now. There's all sorts of things that are kind of encompassed in this.
It's becoming richer every day. We have the Missouri Contemporary Ballet. We have a distillery, Dogmaster Distillery. We have the Mud Room. We have Artlandish Gallery. We have Lo and Behold Clothing. We have let's see, we have a couple of new restaurants in the area. And there's just, also it includes former Mojo's, now Rose Music Hall. And we have a recording studio in the area, as well as a couple of furniture stores, and we've got people that manufacture clothing as well in the area. So very, very full.
And kind of an eclectic mix. It's not all just one. It's not everybody just having an art gallery all together. There are different kinds of artists and different kinds of things available.
Oh, yeah. Well, Sega brought us just now in that Berry building. They were formerly the Perlo Stevens or PS Gallery, and that gave a lot of legitimacy to the art clique. But also you have hairstylists, we have Rock Bottom Comics, we have, and again, all of the restaurants, and then we have the Bridge as well, and they have the studios for people to learn music and teach kids music. So yeah, it's gotten just fabulous.
So when you look at the kind of things that you can do now with the district as it exists now, I know one of the things that happens here in North Village all the time, every month, is the First Friday. You want to talk about First Fridays?
Oh, that's become our baby, and we're really happy about that because that gives us the opportunity to be in line with a lot of other major art areas that have a functioning First Friday, where the public knows that there's going to be some action going on, and it's going to be art or cultural related, and so it tends to be family friendly and a little more open-minded than you might find at just some basic concert venues or music venues. And so yeah, it's become an inviting place for people to come visit, and not only that, but to show off to their friends because it's on a schedule, and it offers a way to offer different things along with the regular take, viewing art and seeing the experiences that are going on. So yeah.
Now I know that the North Village, during the summer, First Fridays are easy because you can walk around and everything. What happens as the weather, dare I say it, gets less warm?
Well, the fascinating part about that is we actually began, and we're just about to come up on our anniversary, we began the First Friday idea in December. And we were nervous about how it was going to take hold, but the people found out they like, it's almost as if it's a pub crawl, and they're excited enough to go see what's going on at each venue that they went around, and it's gotten to have food and different experiences, and so people really want to be a part of it. So there's not really any hesitation. And now also we're looking at adding elements from the Farmers and Artisans Market, where the vendors can come and be a part of that. Also, we have the fire spinners, and we have places to warm up. We have a nice coffee shop that has a patio where people can huddle together. And so we have inside and outside venues that just keeps it going.
Of course, it always helps if it's maybe not totally freezing on that First Friday, right?
Yes, but as you get into the season, people are wanting things to do that aren't necessarily related to the holidays, or they may have a version of cabin fever as soon as possible, and you want things to do. So.
So when we look at what the plan is for North Village Arts District, obviously it has been growing over the last few years, and the programming has been expanded, like with First Fridays. So where do you see North Village going in the future?
Well, again, we're excited. It's just a really, really great opportunity. We've just gotten a new marketing manager for the North Village Arts District, and we're making plans for doing all kinds of events. Because the last thing we want to do is get complacent about our success and just be able to put on the same fare. That's not what art is about. So we're looking at blowing it up in a couple of places, really incorporating all of the businesses that are in the area, as well as thinking of components that would suit the businesses as well as the public. And I'm not going to tip my hand exactly, but we want to involve the schools in the area and the kids. We want to involve the ideas of upcycling things and recycling to make art. We want, like the Broadus and Sager did, we want really sophisticated things like the Picasso and Chagall show that they had at one time. And just easing on into just lifting the whole area and finding out what Columbia has to offer, and also bringing more ideas from outside, because people want in once they see us jumping.
Well, and I definitely think one of the things that to me is interesting is the fact that you have the Broadus and Sager Gallery that has, really interesting works there, and then literally across the street, pretty much, is Orr Street, and you have working artists, which I think is really, to me, very interesting, because to be able to go in there and walk around and see where somebody works in addition to their work, I find that really interesting, because I'm always curious, like, well, how did they do this and how do they make this?
Yeah, and one of the things you want to do too is you want to invite people into the process of art, and you want people to understand that nobody's really outside of the ability to create art. It's only the critics or the historians that do the judging. But we have a thing Catherine Park and some people started called Second Saturday for Kids, where they give kids an opportunity to make art and study art as it's been before, and also to sidewalk painting, murals. There are several murals in the area, so there's more participatory action going, as well as seeing the artists at their process, whether it be sculpture or painting, or we have filmmakers there as well. That's a big part too. So there's always something that can pique the interest of someone and maybe get them off the schneid and really say that, hey, I could do this as well. So.
Well, and certainly in this town with Citizen Jane and True False and Ragtag and everything, filmmaking is a big part of the ethos here, right?
Right, exactly. And then if you look at it, filmmaking brings in all those other opportunities. You have art directors, you have musicians, you're going to have as well, all the people that do fashion and clothing, makeup artists, scene set directors. It's just a plethora of possibilities.
When we talk about the North Village Arts District, there are other entities in town that are also doing art. You have this, I don't know if you've heard of it, there's a university nearby that does a few things related to
Big
art.
place, yeah.
So how do all these things interrelate, and what's special or different about North Village as opposed to the Columbia Art League, as opposed to what's happening on campus?
Well, again, we don't want to separate or divide ourselves. We just become another destination. We have friends at the Museum of Art and Archaeology in their new home. We have lots of good friends. There's a lot of crossover with the Columbia Art League, Access Arts, the Canvas. All of these people, we're doing the same thing. And the idea, too, lately is to get away from this silo effect that a lot of arts organizations have, where they just run the same people around in the area. And if you're looking for more money or more input, you have to have a broader outlook, and you have to work with the people. The university has just a lot of opportunities. They're going to have the Afro-Cuban exhibit coming up soon. The museum always is a good tool for learning and teaching. Columbia College is on board as well, and Stevens also. And so there's no reason not to. And one of the consensus among the city fathers now is that making that leg between town and gown. People talk of it for years, but they're actually going to try and connect the Avenue of the Columns. We have the Century Fund. There are a lot of people thinking that it's a good opportunity, and it's a clean economic industry that can bring people and money to the area, and everybody can benefit.
And certainly anytime you have such an international draw as all these universities right here in town, that's going to add a whole other dynamic to the art, because you have folks from other countries across the globe who are here and bring parts of their culture to what's happening here in Columbia too.
Well, of course, I'm fascinated by the Chinese culture, and we have an organization, the Friends of China, who put on, there's a recent exhibition going on. Also, the Japanese element is really popular, and then we're finding people from India. We have a professor at Columbia College that's from Georgia who's introduced some ideas about that culture we weren't aware of. And so, yeah, so like I said, another opportunity to bring on people and show what's out there.
So, a lot of times in today's society, art is sort of discounted, and I think Kurt Vonnegut once wrote, he called it the junk jewelry of culture. Um, if you think about why is it important to have an area like North Village Arts District in today's economy, when everything is so much about business and computers and all that sort of thing, why is this important?
Well, I mean, again, you talk about from children to the most sophisticated. Kitsch is good. Some people like kitsch, and some people like the symphony. But the opportunity is vast, and people can become more eclectic, and they can have a wider variety of experiences and opportunities. And it tends to help open minds, which opens up opportunities. And you really want to watch people grow. And I think that's one of our missions, to help the arts grow and to help people grow. And also look at the money that can come from these things. And there are a lot of grants we're looking at. There are foundations. We can become endowed. Again, and people become better people, because art can be a therapy. Art can help build. Architecture is an art form. You have gardens, formal gardens that are an art form. It can involve everyone. It's not exclusive.
Yeah, and it's interesting too to me, because a lot of the comment in this country, often you hear people talking about, I don't want my tax dollars going towards funding art. And in other countries, they have a little different perspective, in countries like Spain, for example, they have a fairly decent amount of funding that goes to support public art and things like that. How do you see something like North Village Arts District in this country sort of supplementing or, acting as a potential replacement for public art that maybe cities can't really afford?
Well, I have to give the city of Columbia kudos, because we're one of two places in the entire state of Missouri that have a city-funded arts organization to support the arts. And a lot of people are indifferent or don't support the arts until it's their daughter at a ballet recital, or their kid playing music or writing poetry, and then they all of a sudden have a buy-in. And so we have an organization that is trying, they have a very small budget, but they fund people from the cloggers and the traditional dancers to the handbell ensemble to access arts to things that are out of the mainstream. And because Columbia realizes, I think on some level, that art is a part of life. It makes life more beautiful. It makes you feel, it helps you feel, and it allows you to seek the commonalities that are out there, whether it's culturally or physically. People love the horses on the bank lawn, and they seek it out. You have public sculptures that people now take pictures in front of that were controversial when they began. Mm-hmm. And so you have this cross between public and private funded art that all of a sudden becomes something that's rich and something people prize, and they are ready to show it off to their friends when they come to town. It becomes a centerpiece.
Well, and it's in many ways it's similar to having a beautiful public park or having a nice place downtown. I mean, even to me, the little sort of micro park that was out in front of a parking space, essentially.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Doing things like that makes a city more livable and a better quality of life, I think.
Yeah, we were commenting on this as we were waiting to get the shuttle bus to the Roots and Blues show at Stevens Lake Park. We were sitting out in front of the parking structure, and that's part of the Percent for Art program that the city has, and people were just commenting consistently how wonderful this little sculpture was. We were able to sit on it, interact with it, go under it, something to do, and it's just another touchstone for people to have a sense of pride and value. It was great.
Now you have, as you said, your business has been down in the North Village Arts District for a while, but you have a long history with Columbia. You talk a little bit about your personal history here?
Well, I loved Columbia when I came here as a student. I lived in a dorm up near the stadium, and I got to meet a lot of my lifelong friends. Friends I met there, I have as friends to this day. And also, it is a wonderful university. I became a smarter person by actually going to classes sometime and learning. And then joining community and realizing how much was outside of the university and how much had been going on in Columbia for a long time. Because we have a long history being the gateway to the West. We're kickoff for the Oregon Trail. We have a lot of the Civil War history, and pre-Civil War history we have German communities that have been here for a long time. We have a lot of factors that have really coalesced around this being a really strong area for interest of both business and culture for many, many years. And so it's a nice place to be. And I was able to get to meet some of the locals and show where some of those things were and are. And I got to really enjoy Columbia for its richness.
So as you look at your future plans for North Village Arts District and that sort of thing, can you envision 5 years down the road, 10 years down the road, what would you like to see it become?
Again, I want it to become just a part. Again, I don't want it to stick out. I want it to be integrated, but have it be, say, for instance, the Greenwich Village in New York. That's one of those, automatically people think of that area. Or if you go to other cities, they have places where you have sculpture and interactions of people and events and just points of pride and the ability for people to get together. I think that's one of those things. And food is another element that always joins those things. And so, yeah, it's a great opportunity.
Now, I know immediately coming up here in the next week or so, you have another First Friday. Is there anything that you can tell us ahead of time that's interesting about this one?
Again, I'm trying to hold a lot under my hat. It's because we're still trying to get some of the pieces in place and without permission or ability. But like I said, we're bringing on a couple of new restaurants that are in. We have a couple of makeup artists that are interested in doing a couple of things. I think this might be the right temperature for the fire spinners again. And we're also looking at a couple of things for the kids going on. And I can't quite tip my hand yet, but I think I want to invite people to come out and see for themselves as well.
Just like a magician, he's going to pull the cape away, right? Yeah, okay, I see how it is.
But anticipation is part of it too, because you lift people's expectations and then you've got to deliver.
Yeah.
And so that's part of it as well.
Now, folks watching the program, if they're watching this at home and they want to know what's coming up and what's happening in the North Village, where do they go? What's the website and what's on there?
Okay, you go to the city website and you click on the Office of Cultural Affairs, and all of those organizations that were funded by them and anybody that gets in touch with them with an event, they're on that website, and so it lets you know what's going on. And also, you can send information to them, so in time for that event, they know what's going on.
So all the schedules and things like that, the events.
And if they aren't on there, I would invite people to send them the information. The Office of Cultural Affairs, gocolumbia.com .org.
It's one of those.
Or .gov. Right?
We'll get it on our
Yes,
website
yes,
so
okay.
folks can find it.
But that's where people can start.
And if people want to participate somehow, if they're interested in being part of First Friday as an artist, how do they go about doing that?
Well, you can get in touch with me directly. I'm part of it. Or Artlandis is another haven for artists coming in because they have many artists installed there. And just we'll invite you to be a part of it, and we'll put you on our schedule and see if it's a good fit and fly with it. We're very open-minded. And so.
Now I know you've had student work, you've had professionals, and pretty much everybody in between. Is there anything that, for you personally, in the last year of First Fridays, that really you thought was really neat and really stood out for you?
Well, I will have to say there was a woman that put together a group. They were making puffy sculptures. They had a huge fortune cookie that was larger than the table. They had a stuffed VCR tape. It was things like that. They made a huge donut.
I say food is the theme here, Kenny.
Right,
Gotcha.
exactly.
Well, Kenny, thank you for joining us today. We appreciate it. That is Kenny Green with the North Village Arts District. Thanks for joining us this week on Pause.